right, I think I'm live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PT on Ice daily show. My name is Jessica Davis, and I am lead faculty for the Performing Arts Division. Thank you for being here this morning on a Tuesday morning. So today I'm going to go over the anatomy of a pointe shoe. And I wanted to cover that topic because I actually was requested when I was doing one of my live courses in Texas to cover the toe shoe. And I thought that was a really good idea because I make the assumption sometimes that you all know what I'm talking about. And one of the things that I want to make sure is that all of you understand and are aware of the toe shoe and its specifics. So we're going to go over something, but I have something funny to tell you. So lesson learned. If you have your favorite pair of toe shoes and you happen to have a puppy in your house, make sure that you don't have your toe shoes near your new puppy. So the toe shoes I'm going to show you today are actually the very last pair of toe shoes that I had when I danced 20 plus years ago. And one of the sad things is that my puppy decided to make it her toy. So I have one that's semi-intact and one that's chewed, but the nice part is that the one that's chewed will help you see the internal aspect of the toe shoe. Okay, so let's go over the basic anatomy, and then I'm going to show you some specifics and why this is important for physical therapists who work with dancers to have at least a basic awareness or understanding. So when you get to the toe shoe, you need to understand the basic premise of it. Okay, so what is the purpose of the toe shoe for the dancer? The purpose is for the dancer to obviously dance on point, on their toe. And it was developed so that dancers would look more airy and light many years ago. So a lot of people think or wonder sometimes what it's composed of. So it's made of satin. You can see the satin lining. And then you have various aspects of wood that create the shank, which is this part here. And we're going to talk about why that's important. The box can be made up of a variety of materials. It can be made up of dried glue, cardboard, and various materials depending on the maker of the pointe shoe. So when you look at the basic anatomy of it, or the premise here, so there's different aspects. So this part here, this side part of the toe shoe, is going to be called the wing, and I'm going to show you why the wing of the toe shoe is important to know what that is. This aspect here is the box. So this top part is the box of the toe shoe. And then you have the base of the toe shoe, the bottom part of the toe shoe. This is the aspect the dancer is going to be weight bearing through. And then this aspect again is called the shank. So right here, this part that's going to abut next to the bottom part of the plantar aspect of the dancer's foot. And then you have the ribbons, and they serve a purpose. And then you have an elastic, and unfortunately my elastic was chewed by my lovely dog. And then dancers will sometimes put things inside their toe shoes. And if you look at the dancer's anatomy, it's important to, you can help them with this, because if they have a first ray that is a little more flexible and you can easily put it into like a valgus type positioning, you might want to suggest putting a little bit of a, like they have a little toe pad that they can put between the toes. Or some dancers like myself, when I used to dance, I used just lamb's wool. So I would have lamb's wool that would help my toes. Or they had different padding and everything like that. So why is this all important? A proper fitting toe shoe is incredibly essential for the dancer, because if it isn't fitting properly, they can have obviously some issues that are going to develop of the kinetic chain, or have long-term problems in their feet, and their feet are their instruments. So it's very essential that a young dancer has a proper fitting when they start dancing. And unfortunately, sometimes this doesn't happen. Another thing that young dancers can get wrapped up in is the aesthetics. They want to have the prettiest toe shoe out there. So it's their first pair of toe shoes. They can't wait to get them. And so they put on a pair that looks more appealing to them. And they'll say, oh, this feels great. And so as a physical therapist, when you see a young dancer who just started pointe work, it's important to keep an eye on how it's properly fitting. So I'll tell you a story. So I had a young dancer that came to see me fairly recently. And she and her mother were worried that she was developing some Achilles tendonitis. And when I looked at her, she didn't have positive testing for that, but she did have pinpoint tenderness. And when I got the history of her, she had just gotten her first pair of toe shoes. So I said, bring them in. So when I had her put her toe shoes, one of the things that I wanted to observe and I recommend when you work with them is have them show you how they're putting them on. And I'm going to put this toe shoe on, which I haven't put on in 20 plus years, and I'm going to show you why it's important. So you're going to want to see how they put them on and if they know the proper method with which putting it on, and whether the ribbons are in the proper anatomical location, and then how the shoe is fitting their foot. When I observed her in releve, so up on her toes, what I noticed was that she had some blanching of the skin. Now, what can happen is people will come to you and they may wear their ballet tights and you won't see their actual skin coloration when they have their toe shoe on. So when you're doing the fitting and the first time you see them, make sure that they roll their tights up. A lot of dancers will have holes that they'll put in the bottom pair of their tights so they can roll them up so they can have a bare foot. And have them do that and put their foot in a barefoot position so that you can see exactly how, whoops, oh no, I lost my Instagram. Okay, here we go, live again, sorry about that. So make sure that they don't have blanching of the Achilles tendon. So this patient of mine was in Pointe, and you could see that she had some blanching in her Achilles because her toe shoe ribbons and where she was putting her knot, which I'm going to show you what that means, was in the improper location, and she had her ribbons too long. So we can really make a difference with these dancers. So I'm going to go over exactly how to properly put them on. So bear with me here. I'm going to try to get creative here with both cameras. So here we go. So here's the toe shoe. So you're going to want to have the dancer put whatever padding that they have on their foot, because you want to make sure that it's properly fitting there. So I'm going to try to get this on my foot. Okay. All right. So there are ribbons, or I'm sorry, the elastic. Oh, let me show you this first. Okay. So when you have the dancer show you what's happening here, you want to make sure that that when it's folded, like the back part folded, that right where this is folded, if you guys can see this, that's at that point, that's where they should be putting their ribbon on an angle. So if you can see this is on an angle, that will help it fit properly in the arch. And the young dancers should be trained in this, hopefully from their ballet school, but if they haven't, it's helpful as a therapist to know this. So you want the ribbon in this location. Now, where the elastic is tied can vary dancer to dancer. So depending on where it's located, they may have it at the back of the shoe, like I used to like mine at the very back. Some dancers will put it similar to where their ribbons are. Some will have two that will crisscross. So when you think about anterior ankle instability, a dancer may benefit from having that crisscross elastic in a better location. So that's something that we can get creative with when we're working with them. Okay. So you can also see mine, like I had trimmed the satin. So some dancers will trim this satin, and you can also see where I wore down on my toe shoe, similar to like how we look at tennis shoes, but how we wear down. So it's important to look at that. Okay, so anyway, putting my toe shoe on, back to this. Okay, so I'm going to change, I think the Instagram feed, you guys can see me. And I'm going to move my camera, bear with me here guys, so that you can see my foot. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. All right, so when you tie a toe shoe, and I'm gonna move this, okay, so they should start with the inside ribbon, okay? So I'm gonna roll this up here. So the inside ribbon goes on first, it covers the arch, okay, comes up around the ankle and wraps around. Now, a mistake that young dancers can make is either they'll make this too tight, and I talked about that blanching that you'll see on the skin, or they will make it too loose and it's not supportive. Okay, then they take their second ribbon, wrap it around and up around. Now here's the key point. Okay, so when you get to this point, you want to watch the dancer tie her knot. Do not have them tie a ribbon, tie a bow. This should be a knot. So they're going to make a knot, and it's on the inside, the medial aspect of the Achilles tendon, not right over the Achilles tendon. If their knot is over the Achilles tendon, what's going to happen is when they're going up and down on point, they're going to have rubbing or discomfort. So they're going to tie a knot right here. And then what you want to see them do from that perspective is they're going to roll their ribbon like this. You guys can see me here. And then they're going to tuck it in their tights, right? In between the ribbon here. And it should be nice and flat. If it's too bulky, you can tell the dancer cut your ribbons, okay? All right, so here we go. So this is what you're going to look at for a proper fitting. So some ideas. Okay, so when it comes to, we talked about earlier, this aspect oh no, let's see. Oh, I'm going to start over here, you guys. See if I can do another live video. Okay, so I'm continuing my live video on Instagram. Sorry guys, I got cut off there. Okay, starting it over there. Okay, so when it comes to properly assessing, and I'm going to move my computer down and the phone so you guys can see, because you got to get down on the ground here to really see what I'm doing. Okay, move this so y'all can see. Okay, all right, so when it comes to the toe shoe, this part here, okay, this aspect of the toe shoe known as the wing needs to be the proper length. If it's too long, meaning it goes past the first ray, then the dancer can have difficulty fully articulating into demi-point. So this is demi-point, this is full point, okay? So when they're in demi-point, if this wing is too short, then it will cause some wear and tear over the first ray and they can get a bunion developing. Or if it's too long, they're going to have some difficulty articulating. You can see that my toe shoe is coming off, and that's because my elastic is broken because my puppy chewed it. But anyway, okay, so that's when it comes to the wing. Now the reason the box length is important is it's based on the anatomy of the dancer. So if you want to look at the proper metatarsal length, and if it's too long, again, they're going to have problems coming into that demi-point position. If it's too short, then they can also have issues and not enough support to their foot and their metatarsals, okay? So the length of the box, the length of the wing are very important, okay? When it comes to how the toe shoe fits around the foot, toe shoes should feel snug. If you see when they're standing, if you see and they get into that point position, if this looks, and you can see mine isn't fitting me properly because my elastics aren't properly tied. But if this aspect is wrinkled up, then there's little drawstrings here that you can adjust, and sometimes it's just not the right toe shoe. So again, keep in mind, they may not have the right toe shoe, and you may just have to tell them the bad news that it might not be the ideal toe shoe for them. Okay, so you want to look at how it's basically fitting, where they've put their ribbons, where they've put their knot is the proper anatomical location. And then when you get them, so one of the tests that you'll do is you'll have the dancer stand in second position. You want to have them perform a demi-plie. And what you want is you want them to feel, and I feel in mine, and again, this has been 20 plus years since I put this pair of toe shoes on, so bear with me here. When I get into a demi-point, I feel my toes meeting the box of my shoe. And that's where it should be. If I am just in standing and I feel that this is touching the box, then that's a problem. That means that this toe shoe is not the right size, and I'm going to develop curling of my toes and potentially have some blisters that are going to develop on my point shoes, okay, or on my feet, and you don't want that for the young dancer, okay? So you're going to also have them then get into a point position, non-weight bearing, so that you can see, because the young dancer doesn't have the strength yet to really get up onto point. So what you want to look for is how is this fitting? And you can see I've worn down my toe shoe. This is an old toe shoe. But in this position, what I'm looking for specifically is how much fabric. Now, in my reflection, I think if this elastic was properly fitting me, it was a decent fit. I do have a little bit of give, but not too much fabric. So if you pinch this, you should have a teeny tiny bit of fabric so that I have enough room to fully articulate onto point. But I don't have too much, because if it's too much, then this toe shoe is too long and my foot is going to be rubbing back and forth when I'm doing my point work. You want to have the right fit for this. Now, if it's too short, what will happen is this will come off for the dancer and they won't have the proper length of the shoe, and this will fall off, even if they put the elastics. So all of this is tested again early on, but when you see the dancer, sometimes you can't make the assumption, and I'm going to move this back up, you can't make the assumption that the dancer has had the proper fitting. So when you see a young dancer who just got their toe shoes and they're having issues, we already talked at length about how we want to look at motor control, strength, and all of those elements, and obviously the characteristics of how long they've been dancing, et cetera, et cetera. But don't forget, the proper fitting toe shoe is also critical. So hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. But I wanted to go over this today, and thanks for bearing with me. Oh, and I'll show you what my puppy did, just so you guys want to see. Look at what my puppy did to my toe shoe. The only last toe shoe I had ever from dancing. She thoroughly chewed it, but you guys can see inside the making of, so just what it looks like inside. And anyway, Hopefully that helps. So everybody have a wonderful day. Happy Tuesday, and get out there and enjoy the day. All right, thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.